Muhammadu Buhari declares old 200 naira notes legal tender till April 10th. And also you'll be hearing the federal government names 8,611 Nigerians with uncollected passports. United Nations Security Council extends armed embargo on Yemen Houthis. Hello and welcome. This is News Live on Viewer Television and my name is Phillips Levin. President Muhammadu Buhari in a national broadcast has extended the validity of the old 200 naira notes till April 10, 2023. The president addressed the nation following a series of protests across the country over the scarcity of new naira notes. Buhari, however, stated that all old 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes yet to be deposited banks can still be redeemed at the CBN office, adding that decision was for the interest of Nigerian economy.
To further ease the supply pressures, particularly to our citizens, I have given approval to the CBN that the old 200 naira banknotes be released back into circulation, and that it should also be allowed to circulate as legal tender with the new 200 naira, 500 naira and 1,000 naira banknotes for 60 days from February 10th, 2023 to April 10th, 2023, when the old 200 naira note ceases to be legal tender. In line with Section 20, subsection 3 of the CBN Act 2007, all existing old 1,000 naira and 500 naira notes remain redeemable at CBN and designated points.
Recall that the Supreme Court had adjourned a suit filed by Kaduna, Zamfara and Kogi states against the federal government over the Naira redesign policy to February 22nd. And now the federal government has published the names of 8,611 Nigerians who are yet to collect their issued passports from the Nigerian immigration offices across Nigeria. The federal government, through the Ministry of Interior, revealed the names on its website with a link shared on its official Twitter page. This was also retweeted by the Minister Rauf Arigoshola on Thursday morning. The Nigerian Immigration Service had earlier reported that over 148,000 passports were awaiting collection nationwide since 2020. The NIS Public Relations Officer Anthony Okweme also noted that NIS could not reach the owners, some of whom impute incorrect contact details at the point of registration. And now the United States and the federal government have signed an agreement for the repatriation of $954,000 loot of late Diapiri Alemeye Sige, former governor of Bayelsa State. U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria Mary Beth Leonard announced the development at a press briefing in Abuja. Leonard set the official salary of the former governor during the tenure as a public servant of 1999 to his impeachment in 2005 did not match the said amount. She said, however, he accumulated millions of dollars through abuse of office, money laundering. Beatrice J.D. Agba, Solicitor General of the Federation, who represented Nigeria at the briefing, said President Muhammadu Buhari has immediately directed that a set sum be utilized in developing the healthcare of Bayelsa State. The Bauchi State government has unveiled implementation of Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law, Administration of Criminal Justice Law, and Penal Code of the state. Speaking to journalists at the State NUJ Secretariat in Bauchi while unveiling the law, the Attorney General and the Commissioner of Justice, Abubakar Muhammad, said it is punishable under the new law to practice female genital mutilation, forced marriage, and other harmful traditional practices, adding that the speedy trial process won't exceed 180 days. Now, our correspondent Awal Hassan from Bauchi tells us more on that story.
The implementation of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition (VAP) law and the administration of criminal justice law as amended, which was unveiled by the Bauchi State Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, is a step forward to ending some social atrocities as it made provision for penalties.
The law aims at making these achievements to prohibit all forms of violence against persons, including physical, sexual, emotional, psychological, and economic abuse, to provide protection and support for victims of violence by granting them access to medical, legal, and social services, to create awareness about the prevalence of violence against persons and the importance of preventing it.
The law also provides speedy trial process to avoid keeping suspects under detention for a long time.
Legal advices are given time limit within which to be given. Cases must be started and concluded within a specified number of days. Is it 180 days? Now you can see, no matter how grievous an offense is, it must be commenced and concluded within 180 days. That is, if we can observe this religiously, and I'm sure the private bar will be at our neck, we will also be at their necks to make sure that they cannot adjourn their cases. Now, another innovation is there is one take in the proceeding.
On her part, Chief Judge of Bauchi State Justice Rabitalatu Umar also lamented the delays in the dispensation of justice and congestion of correctional centers with a high population of awaiting trial persons.
It is obvious that delays in the dispensation of justice and congestion of dockets of our courts, and by extension congestion of correctional centers with high population of awaiting trial persons, ATP, are the norm and the order of the day. The need for these laws, therefore, is not only timely, but a necessity in our today's Bauchi state. The sharing news for us is that with the support and
residents of Maiduguri have lament over the conflicting directives of the CBN and Supreme Court on the use of old Naira notes. They complained that the cashless policy has caused more hardship as they can't access money from their banks and finding it difficult carrying out their daily activities around the metropolis. Some of the residents added that the disobedience of the CBN to stop the old legal tender shows unseriousness of the federal government and called on the CBN to recirculate the old notes and distribute the redesigned Naira across banks.
Everyone is confused with what is happening. They are not helping the situation. I was having 5,000 Naira old notes. I spent it because of what is going on, and now I don't have any money. And the worst thing is that there is no place to get cash. The government should listen to the Supreme Court to end this suffering.
Only what we can demand from government, we need network. Much network from each bank, so anybody that wants to transact, let him transact the money sharply at least.
Honestly, this is not the time to be playing with us. We can't go anywhere because of lack of cash. With the old notes no more being in circulation, then where are the new notes? We have been spending nights at the ATM and still no cash. The banks don't have money. This is not progress at all.
Policy ne mai kyau ma kasa dan tana gara boosting na economy na kasa amma problem wanda muke fuskanta na akwai.
Even the cashless policy they introduced, we can't even make transactions with it. We know that it was introduced to fight corruption and boost economy. But the situation is different now. The government needs to do something urgently.
They are the judiciary. So as for the CBN, I don't know why they don't obey, but they said they will obey, but yet we are suffering.
And now we'll be going on a break, and when News Live returns, we'll be looking at the National Examination Council has announced the release of results of the November-December 2022 Senior School Certificate Examination. We have details of this and more after this break.
Gentlemen, I'm at the Envoy Hotel, Diplomatic Drive 305, here for a business weekend. It's been an amazing stay. Conference hall and business facilities here are stylish and innovative. The Envoy Hotel is luxury, esoteric, opulence, for ultimate comfort.
We are more than just a place to stay. We are an icon of comfort, style, and thoughtful luxury. We are Envoy Hotel.
Two souls came together. Two souls came together. They're not right now.
Fragrance, the new luxury fragrance for men and women.
Welcome back, and it's good to know that you are still with us on News Live. But before we move forward, here is a recap of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari declares all 200 naira notes legal tender till April 10th. The federal government names 8,611 Nigerians with uncollected passports. United Nations Security Council extends armed embargo on Yemen's Houthis. Now, moving forward, the National Examination Council has announced the release of results of the November-December 2022 Senior School Certificate Examinations. Its registrar, Professor Anthony Ushishi, who made the announcement in Mina, Niger State, said 59,124 candidates sat for the examination, with 31,316 males representing 51.96%, while 27,808 representing 47.03% were female. Ushishi added that the number of candidates that sat for the English language was 58,012, of which 44,162 represented 76.13% got credit and above, while the number of candidates that sat for mathematics was 57,700, of which 43,096 representing 74.69% got credit and above. The further said the number of candidates who got 5 credits and above, including English language and mathematics, was 3,914, representing 57.36%. The Electoral Forum has advised the federal government to address electoral threats before the 2023 election. The group identified 10 threats, namely security, trust deficit, judiciary, infrastructure, tight presidential race, voters' access and voting rights, electoral technology, internal sabotage within the EMB, vote trading, and rising youth expectation in the electoral process as things that could hinder free, fair, and credible elections. In a statement, the forum focused on recent developments in the electoral process and the Supreme Court judgment, as well as assessed pre-election risk, with emphasis on how to manage different threats for the 2023 general elections during the 8th technical session held 11th February 2023. The forum noted during the meeting that current trends in the political system were multitaxing and required multi-stakeholders engagement. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in collaboration with the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, has organized the signing of peace accord by all political parties in Gombe State. The move is aimed at ensuring peaceful, credible, free, and fair election in the conduct of all elections in Gombe State. 13 out of the 14 political parties with their gubernatorial candidates and party chairmen signed the peace accord, with the exception of the People's Democratic Party. Now, our correspondent was there, Christopher Luca, completes this report.
The 2023 general elections in Gombe State will provide opportunity for voters to give their verdict on the presidential elections and 34 other constituencies, made up of 1 governorship constituency, 3 senatorial districts, 6 federal and 24 state constituencies. In keeping with 2022 Electoral Act, political parties, including incumbent Governor Ino Yahya, append their signatures to the dotted lines of the peace accord to commit to non-violent conduct before, during, and after 2023 general elections.
As a governor and the chief security officer and a contestant, you see, elections itself will not hold in an atmosphere of rancor and skirmishes. And we are after peace and security. Nothing will go until there is peace and there is security in the country. So as Democrats, we must ensure that we maintain the peace so that we succeed, 1, in conducting the elections, and 2, in seeing that there is good governance in the country at large.
However, there was a plot twist when the People's Democratic Party, PDP, declined to sign the peace accord, alleging marginalization, vote buying, and insecurity.
All of you are aware of what has been happening to the PDP in terms of attacks on our people. We have reported officially to all the security agencies, especially the lead security agent, the police. No action has been taken.
New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, also alleges instances of marginalization, but signed the peace accord anyway.
Some of us that are coming from the parties that are not very popular, so there are so many things that are happening. Some of these things that we sign are already violated, and we don't have a voice to say it out.
While admitting that signing the peace accord is a matter of choice, INEC and the police say a level playing field has been provided for all political parties in the state.
You see, when you make wild allegations, when you make allegations, you should prove. Have they come out to say, oh, Mr. A bought PVC from Mr. B? Hold on. And then, can you take my ATM card to the bank without my PIN number?
I said that we are not coercing anybody. It is in our collective interest. So we are not saying that everybody must come and sign. You must. So it is your wish. So and in a place where you have about 80 or so people, persons, they have already signed. So I think it is fair enough.
Gombe State, under the Inwo Yahya-led administration, has been adjudged by many quarters to be the safest state in Nigeria, which the governor assures commitment to defending amidst the hustles and bustles of 2023 general polls. Christopher Luka, Viewer Television News, Gombe.
So now, electoral matters. The People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council has declared that Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has officially joined the ruling All Progressive Congress following the visit of the APC presidential candidate, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, to the governor at the Government House, Port Harcourt, on Wednesday. Tinubu, who visited Wike after the APC presidential campaign rally at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium, Ilekahia, Port Harcourt, was accompanied by his running mate, Senator Kashim Shettima, and APC National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and others, where governors of Lagos, Ebonyi, and Kebbi State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, David Umahi, and Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, respectively, as well as the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Temipre Silva, and former Ekiti State Governor Kaide Fahmi. The PDP Presidential Campaign Council, in a statement issued in Port Harcourt by the council spokesman in the state, Dr. Lelunu Wibu Basa, said Tinubu's visit, which had Wike's full cabinet members in attendance, marked the end of all speculations by Nigerians and the governor's continuous denial of his current political standing. The consortium Basic Rights Watch has called on the government to create a transitional justice ministry to support victims of insurgency and reconciliation process in the Northeast affected during era of insurgency. The group at the press briefing also called on the government to adopt a transitional justice mechanism who will protect victims of the conflict and reveal patterns of gender abuse, communal healing, and compensation victims, and investigative human rights violation, torture, harassment, and brutality in the region. The spokesman of the consortium Basic Rights Watch, Austin Ikwejuru, said the transitional justice system should promote gender justice and create space for women participation in sustainable peace building and ensure social reintegration.
Without substantive inclusion of IDPs, transitional process face the risk of failure. The divisions that conflict caused cannot be fully mended, and reconciliation and healing will only be partial without addressing the issues affecting IDPs in conflict and post-conflict situations. Memorialization is important for truth and reconciliation, and this could include commemorative activities, erection of monuments and symbols, renaming of public spaces or building, review of artistic or cultural expressions, as well as national symbols and holidays, and or revision of history.
Well, you're still watching News Live. Up next, we'll be looking at business, international, and entertainment news. Don't go nowhere. on business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has created a portal for the collection of the old Naira notes as the deadline to submit to banks directly elapsed on February 10, 2022. The CBN published a notification titled Redemption of Currency on its website. The notification provides a link to the portal to enable Nigerians to redeem as deposit their old 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira and 200 Naira notes by completing an online form. The Apex Bank said beneficiary accounts will only receive value after successful processing of cash deposited and verification of documentation submitted. Meanwhile, following the extension of the hearing on the order for the suspension of the deadline for the submission of the old Naira notes by the Supreme Court to next week, Wednesday, there were mixed reaction by traders, commercial drivers, and point of sale operators, as some refused to accept while others accept the old notes. Meanwhile, the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria says the challenges occasioned by the Naira redesign may further reduce life expectancy of Nigerians already pegged at 53. The president of the body, Professor Cyril Sifo, in a statement said the current state of the economic caused by the scarcity of new Naira notes may also give rise to the case of morbidity and mortality. According to him, the federal government institution now reject the old Naira notes and insist on payment of services through confirmed transfer services or payment with bank tellers into their accounts. He also berated the judiciary for failing to align with the masses in the current circumstances, as most of the courts in the land had stopped collecting old Naira notes from people caring to file possession in court registries. From another angle, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited sees a rehabilitation of 3 refineries in the country, which it has impact on, will reduce fuel scarcity. NNPCL Executive Vice President Danladi Inuwa disclosed this during a workshop sensitization program with natives, civil society organizations in Abuja. He also revealed that the Port Harcourt refinery will start operations by the second quarter of 2023, adding that the Warri Kaduna refineries have been contracted for quick rehabilitation. The president of the group, Ola Lekan Edwards, in his address voiced concerns about citizens' participation in influencing key projects decisions in host communities, noting that the narrative needed to change from protest to participation in key decisions. Nigeria is going to save about 267.2 billion naira annually through the domestic refining of crude oil to premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has said. NNPC Group Chief Executive Officer Miale Kari explained that the refining of crude oil into PMS in Nigeria will compress the logistic cost around petrol supply by about 17 naira per litre, describing this as significant. This was also confirmed by oil marketers who told newsmen that it was high time the federal government through NNPC got Nigeria's refineries working based on the huge benefits this will avail the country. NNPC supplies over 16 million litres of petrol daily to keep Nigeria wet with the product. A 17 naira per litre reduction in logistics cost would translate to 1.02 billion naira savings daily. Nigeria's inflation pressure has resurged, with January figure rising 0.47 percentage point to 21.82% from 21.34% in December 2022. Now, the National Bureau of Statistics disclosed this in its Consumer Price Index report for January 2023, saying that the food inflation index also increased to 24.32% in January 2023 from 21 to 34% in December 2022 due to increase in the prices of some food items. Nigeria's inflation rate eased to 21.34% in December 2022 from 21.47% in November 2022. First drop in about 11 months. The Bureau said on a month-on-month basis, the percentage change in the all item index in January 2023 was 1.87%, which was 0.15 percentage points higher than the rate recorded in December 2022, which is 1.71%. And now away from Nigeria, the United Nations Security Council voted unanimously to extend the embargo on Yemen's Houthis rebel until November 15th. Now, the Security Council also continued the asset freeze and travel ban on Houthis leaders and top officials. The resolution extended the mandate of the UN panel of experts monitoring the sanction until December 15th in February 2022. The Security Council expanded an arms embargo on Houthi leaders to include all Houthis accusing them of threatening the peace, security, and stability of Yemen. After Wednesday's vote, the Council met behind closed doors to hear briefings by Hans Grunberg, the UN Special Envoy for Yemen, and Joyce Musaya, the Assistant Secretary General of Humanitarian Affairs. And on natural disaster, the number of people killed in a devastating earthquake that struck the Turkey-Syria border area, nearly 42,000 on Thursday, as search and rescue efforts continued 10 days later. In Turkey alone, 36,187 people died across 11 provinces. State news agency Anadolu cited disaster authority AFADA. Combined with that in Syria, the total confirmed toll is 41,838. The first quake of magnitude 7.7 struck Turkey and Syria in the early hours of February 6th. Another large tremor hit at noon that day, and there were more than 3,800 aftershocks. The Israeli Knesset has passed a law to revoke the citizenship and residency status of Arab citizens of Israel who have been imprisoned by the occupation state and receive salaries from the Palestinian Authority. The law, which gives the Interior Minister authority to revoke the citizenship of prisoners and deport them to the Western Bank or Gaza, was passed by 95 votes for the 9 against. Commenting on the passing of the law, the Legal Center for Arab Minority Rights in Israel, Dala, said the law doesn't only create an additional avenue for the revocation of the citizenship or residency of Palestinians, which further undermines the precarious status of Palestinians under the Israeli regime, but also facilitates their expulsion, all in violation of international law. The Knesset has now passed yet another measure that explicitly and exclusively targets Palestinians in pursuit of its commitment to establish two separate legal systems based on Jewish supremacy. And on entertainment news, DJ Maforisa, a renowned DJ and producer, has been named the best African DJ at the South City MVP Award Festival. The awards took place at the Echo Conventional Center in Lagos, Nigeria. Transition from the South City Video Music Awards in 2016. The awards recognizes outstanding achievements of African artists in 15 various music categories. According to release, Nigerian superstar Burna Boy, who received 8 nominations across 7 categories, led the pack. He received 2 nominations for the Best Collaboration Award in the African DJ of the Year category. Forisa, real name Temba Sekoe, was nominated alongside fellow South African DJs Uncle Waffles and Grammy-winning Black Coffee. This fall-winter 2023 parade saw several models wear round and low-hanging belts in a nod to the 88-year-old Stenham's signature look. Stenham, considered the leader of second-wave feminism in America in the late 1960s and early 70s, sat front row at the show in Manhattan West Village. According to Course in a statement, "The women who intrigued me then and who still intrigue me today are the women who break the rules, do things their own way." She looked on alongside Vogue editor-in-chief and high priestess of fashion Anna Wintour and actresses Mindy Kaling and Kate Hudson. Now, fast-rising actress Idia Asian has stated she received criticism for her not being Igbo and light-skinned in her debut role in the movie Nneka and Pretty Serpent. In 1994, Hernie Mystery Classic was remade in December 2020, with Asian playing the lead role alongside Bovi Bona, Bimbo Ademoye, and others. She explained the Nigerian audience precisely left her heartbroken with their criticism as they expressed disappointment for having to see a dark-skinned, non-Igbo lady play the role of Nneka, which was originally acted by a light-skinned Igbo Nollywood veteran Ndidi Obi. However, the Nigerian Cameroonian noted she was highly compensated by the positive reviews that her role in the movie attracted from the international scene. Raquel Welch, who led the way as an actress, passed away at the age of 82 following the brief illness, which Welch first gained notoriety for her performance in the 1966 motion pictures Fantastic Voyage and 1 Million Years BC. In the 1960s, she rose to fame and best known for her role as the bikini-clad cave woman in the 1960 movie 1 Million Years BC. She was one of the most sought-after female stars throughout the 60s and 70s, taking home plenty of hardware in the process, including Golden Globe for Best Motion Pictures Actress in the Musical or Comedy for her 1974 role in The Three Musketeers. That's all on News Live. Before we go a quick look at a recap of our headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari declares all 200 Naira notes legal tender till April 10th. And also, the federal government names 8,611 Nigerians with uncollected passports. Plus, United Nations Security Council extends arms embargo on Yemen Houthis. Well, that's all we have for News Live. Well, many thanks for your time and, of course, your company. My name is Phillips Levin. Do have a great evening.